And we are back for episode 2 after the long break. We have Matt Henderson in the building today, general health coach, and also family man. How many kids you got?
I got 4 kids.
4 kids. That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, 2 boys, 2 girls.
So today's podcast is about positivity, staying positive even in the midst of the storms, and continuing to improve. So Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Like you said, Matt Henderson, health coach, trainer, passionate about all things gym. Like you said, also family man. Got 4 kids, 4 boys, 4 girls. My boys are teens, 15 and 16, doing the high school thing, so they're pretty much independent. My girls are 5 and 7, so they're coming up, giving me hell all the time. But I love them. Gotta love them.
Girls 5 and 7.
5 and 7 years old. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What else? Been here in Pilot Point for it'll be a year in September, and I'm kind of just got out the military. I did military Air Force for 15 years. Decided that I wanted to kind of do my own thing. The thought of, as hard as I was working, blood, sweat, and tears in my job, it's kind of sickening to know that was just making somebody else rich, going towards something else. So
Okay.
I kind of figured, hey, let me put all this blood, sweat, tears, and work into my own craft, make my own money, be independent. So I'm just on that path right now. Every day is a new day, getting closer and closer to my dreams.
Well, it's good to hear. I know when you first got here, you were thinking about opening up your own private training studio. So you said that you're in basically the entrepreneur spirits. So what are you planning on doing? Or is it just learning the basics right now and then moving forward from there?
Oh, yeah. So I think learning the basics, that's very, very important. That's always a part of the process. That is still definitely a goal. Ran into some obstacles, but I mean, like we were talking about earlier, the road to success is always under construction.
Yes.
But yeah, that's still the end goal. My own personal training studio. Just building up clientele. Being associated with T-Prep has been helping a ton. So like I said, one day at a time. Just staying on path, staying on course, remaining positive. Pretty much, telling the universe, what I want, and just letting that pretty much manifest. And being a deliberate creator of my life.
Yeah, I feel like all these obstacles that you're talking about give you a greater story to tell whenever you get to where you want to go. And you become more relatable. Because if you had a clear path, then nobody's going to respect what you did, but they want to know what you've been through and what you've overcome to get to where you're at. Like you said, enjoy the journey. Everything's under construction, learning as you go. I recently learned a lot of big life lessons, right? And that's outside of business, but that kind of goes into business because what is business? Relationships with people.
Absolutely.
Relationships with people, obviously keeping high energies around you because your environment definitely matters.
Yeah.
If your environment, you have people around you who aren't on the same path as you, people who don't believe in you, people who obviously don't have kind of the same drive as you do. Right?
Yeah, so as many, like I was talking to you about earlier, a lot of successful people, most of the successful people that I listen to, YouTube, whatever, motivational speakers, it's always a common theme with all of them. There's people that gonna hate on you. They don't want you to achieve your goals. They put a lot of doubt into your mind, and you hit the nail on the head with the energy. Like, you got to surround yourself with the people and the energy that's going to benefit you. Too many times we let negativity, into our lives and into our conversations, and we just let those negative thoughts just surround us. And we got to consciously remove that negativity from our lives.
Okay. So not everybody has the option to choose the environment around them.
I disagree. I don't agree with that one at all.
And it could be because, of life situations, right?
Okay.
They might be rock bottom.
Okay.
That if they choose not to put up with where they're at, then they're going to become even more rock bottom, right? So they're kind of just putting up with it just for the time being. So for the time being, and Adrian, you've been through your own situation like that. I've been through my own situation like that. I don't know who else has been through that, but I'm sure many have. How do you stay positive when your environment isn't?
So I think it's a choice. mentality, your mindset, staying positive. You are in control of your thoughts. You're in control of your mind. There's always going to be adversity, no matter what. There's always life is about polarity. Life is about contrast. You know, the old cliche saying, "Mama said there'd be days like this." You know, there's going to be hard days. There's going to be bad days. You know, but also on the flip side, there's going to be good days. You're going to be in the storm sometimes, but storms don't last forever. So taking the opportunity to focus on what's good in your life is very, very important. If you're at rock bottom, hey, at least you can breathe. At least you're alive. At least the day and the circumstance you're experiencing right now is not going to last forever. Even if that's what you have to think about to pull yourself out of that hole and get a little positivity, whether that's for an hour, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you have to practice and condition yourself to think positive.
That's why I tell Adrian a lot. I tell him, it'll pass through. He always hears me say that. It's like, it'll pass through.
Because it will.
Yeah. I mean, you're never going to stay there. The storm always and eventually ends. The sun usually comes up after the storm, so you're good to go after that. But yeah, so you said you don't agree with choosing your environment. So, with not having a choice in your environment.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say to somebody in that situation?
Well, I would say you're going to be where you are. If a baby is born and they live in the projects or whatever, at that point in time, they're a small child, baby, whatever. It's going to take for them to grow up a little bit, have some life experiences to realize, hey, this is where I am. And at that point, they can choose. Maybe not immediately. They can't hop in a car and drive away from where they live, but they can say, hey, this is not for me. I don't like this. I know there's a better way for me. I know there's better things out there, and they can make choices daily to get out of that situation. You might be in a situation, it might be an adverse situation, but I don't believe that you have to stay in that situation. I don't believe that you're subject to be victim of whatever negative situation you might be in. You can make a choice, whether it's a small choice each day, to get one step closer to getting out of a situation that you are. And like relationships also, comfort, complacency. Oh, I've been with this person for so long. I love this person. Just not being with them, I wouldn't know what to do. I don't know where to begin. You have to, if you don't like the situation you're in, you got to take steps to get out of the situation. Your environment, I think your mentality coincides with your environment as well. I think perception and perspective plays a big role in our environment. Yes. You can take two different scenarios and or the same scenario and put two different people in that scenario. Both of those people might have a different outlook on that scenario that they're in, depending on their background, where they came from, the mentality and the mindset. You take somebody who has never had a hot meal or never had dinner before, and then you put them in an environment where, hey, man, we're going to be having dinner every night. You take that same person who's always had things given to them, always had a hot meal, 3 meals a day, and you say, hey, look, we're going to have a hot dinner. That one person who's used to it is going to be like, oh, yeah, whatever. I'm used to this. But the other person who's not accustomed to that, they're going to be like, oh, man, this is amazing. So you got the same situation, but the mindset is the thing that's different. And that's one thing that we have to do as people who are in situations that we might not want to be in. Change your mindset. Figure out ways to get out of it. Take everything one day at a time. Do something that'll get you one step closer to being where you want to be.
Okay, Matt. So obviously you had developed this over time. How old are you now?
I'm 34.
So 34 years old. What would you say your mentality was like when you were 22?
That's a hilarious question. I don't know how I'm alive. I don't know how I survived my 20s. Looking back, when I was from 18 to like 25 or 26, I believe God had my back, and God was looking. One thing my mom always said was, God protects and looks out for fools and children. Mm-hmm. I was definitely a fool in my early 20s. Mm-hmm. I had just gotten into the military, out drinking all the time, just partying, driving around places I shouldn't have been driving around, just doing a lot of dumb stuff, just being a young person on my own. And looking back, I'm like, man, how did I survive that? So looking back when I was like 22, my mindset and my mentality definitely was not where it is now. And I'm very, very thankful for, learning and the experiences that I have, because I was a complete idiot back when I was in my early 20s. Looking at somebody like you, I wish I had your drive, you know what I'm saying, at that age and your mentality and your maturity, I think I'd be a lot further along right now.
I was just extremely scared of failure, and I'm really scared of wasting time.
Okay.
And I feel like, that one saying, time is money.
Yeah.
Right. And I think time is money, not in the sense of time is money as trading hours for dollars.
Okay.
I think of it as in a sense of you're not going to waste your money on things that aren't going to, bring you back more money, right? Investing. So what do you do with your money? What's the best thing to do with your money? That's invest in things. So when you're spending your time, what is time? Time's a number, just like money is.
Mm-hmm.
When you're spending your time, let's say you spend 2 hours on your phone, just scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through TikTok, whatever.
Yeah.
You're not investing anything into your life. You're just wasting time. You're wasting money. So what are you going to do with your time just like you do with your money? You're going to invest your time. So you're going to go read books. You're going to go study. You're going to go do new experiences or put yourself out there. Because that hour that you did that, you invested your time and invested in yourself to get a better return. Oh, yeah. So that's how I feel in that saying time is money. That's what I believe it actually means, but that's just my philosophies on it.
Yeah, I think that's a good mentality to have about it. I think time is so powerful. I think I've heard one of my favorite podcasters. He actually said, "Time is my greatest inventory." Mm-hmm. That's very important because who you spend your time with, what you spend your time on, what you spend your time doing, that's really important, and that's just something you can't get back. Every second we're moving further and further along into the future. And right now is the present time. What are we doing right now? How's what we're doing right now going to benefit our future, And I think this, doing this podcast right here, I think that's very important. It's going to further a lot of things for the both of us. And like you said, with the scrolling, TikTok or the social media, whatever, I think that was designed to distract us, designed to keep us dumbed down,
Most definitely. More controllable.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that, though.
Yeah.
So you said that this was investing into your time. And you also said before the podcast that you're starting your own podcast. So this is a great investment because now you're getting started, and then you're going to do your own podcast too. So tell us a little bit about that. What are you hoping to accomplish with your podcast?
Well, number one, actually, I had podcasting is something that I fell in love with maybe 6-7 years ago. Just people that I like to listen to, people that that I kind of look up to, hearing their perspective and opinions on a bunch of different topics is very, very interesting to me. And I remember maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I had a pretty good following on Facebook. I used to go live, and a bunch of people used to tune in, listen to what I had to say. People would ask me questions. I'd answer questions. I would consider myself a pretty entertaining person, and I had a lot of fun doing that. So I always put it in the back of my head that I would like to do podcasts one day. So that's definitely something I want to pursue, take more serious in the future, amongst all the other goals that I got going on. But I mentioned earlier I did 15 years in the military. Throughout my time in the military, I met this guy named Kyle, and he's the one that I'm doing the podcast with.
15 years in the military is a long time.
Yeah, it's a pretty long time.
Yes.
But I did, so him and I have been in contact recently. He likes podcasting too. And him and I, we've had a lot of, similar to you and me, we had a lot of conversations about relationships, man stuff, a bunch of crazy stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I'll get canceled now.
Yeah. No. So we're going to take that, man. We're going to broadcast some of our conversations and kind of see where it goes. And I believe the power of the mind and the power of your thoughts is so important. It's real cliche. You remember in like first grade, second grade, we would always hear this stuff. Hey, believe it and you can achieve it. Yeah. Stuff like that sounds corny. It sounds cliche, but that's absolutely the way life works. Yeah. If you got a goal, if you believe you can achieve that, you emotionally invest into the thought, put that out into the universe, take a step each day to get closer to that goal, and you're going to achieve that. I believe that in my heart. And so me and him and I, we're going to start this pod. We're going to hit the ground running with it and just basically try to put a good product out there for the people, giving them a taste of our perspectives about various things in life, and we're going to see where it goes. Yeah.
Now, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. So when you said, oh, man, like I wish I had that mentality you did when you're like at your age, instead of doing all this other stuff. But doing that other stuff has made you who you are today.
Absolutely.
You might be a completely different person if you did the same route that I did, right? And that's just, I think that were meant to go are different routes and different journeys and different times. What was it? Bill Gates or Jeff? Is it
Bezos?
Jeff Bezos?
Yeah.
Like they didn't get successful until they're in their late 30s or 40s, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they were doing things that mattered towards their goal in their 20s and 30s, right?
Maybe,
But maybe not.
Yeah.
We don't know. They can just be saying that. They can just be like, "Hey, yeah, we're in the garage working every day." Like, no, they were doing dumb shit probably.
And speaking of success at a late age, I don't remember the lady's name. It's the mattress lady. I think it's Vera Wang or something like that. Someone who did mattresses, but it's like a real huge brand. But she didn't like get her first mattress deal or something until I think it was 59, 60 years old or something like that. Yeah. So like so there's a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. In that book, they outline a lot of successful people who didn't experience their blow up until later in life. But that just shows you that perseverance that they had early on. And they just kept going.
Because imagine if they didn't.
You know, how many people out there right now actually gave up on their dream, you know, after 10, 15 years of trying, oh, I'm not getting nowhere, then they gave up. And how many products or concepts are out that could have been out there that we could be benefiting from now that never came to fruition because they gave up.
Very true. Like,
you know what I mean?
Was that Dr. Sevi?
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
right,
yeah.
We're gonna stop it there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I tell Adrian. I tell Adrian all the time, like, he says it too. I'm not gonna say that he's not optimistic about it, but staying positive and staying consistent with the podcast and doing above and beyond. We're out here last night till like close to 11, right?
Wow.
And then we just went straight home, passed out, and came back in the morning.
Hey, you gotta get it, yeah.
And all day yesterday, man, we're moving. So we got a U-Haul, we got a storage, and we just been moving all day yesterday. And we didn't finish till like 6, maybe 5:30.
Okay.
5:30. We want to be exact. So we didn't finish till 5:30, and I had a client at 7:30, right? And when I got here, I told him, I said, this is why I like having clients, because it makes me accountable. Like, it makes me be at the gym. Because if I didn't have a client at 7:30, after all day of moving, I would have been like, yo, let's get something to eat, man. Let's call it a day, bro. Sure. But since I had a client at 7:30, I was like, well, nah, man, I got to hop in the shower and head straight to the gym and get back to work.
Absolutely.
Because, responsibilities.
Yeah, man.
So I think putting things in your schedule, consistently, instead of giving yourself a lot of leisure time, it definitely benefits you.
For sure.
Do you use a calendar or any kind of?
Man, yeah, I got calendars. Yeah. I use the one on my phone. I got an actual calendar that I write on. Yeah, all that stuff, man.
I try my best not to do things on my phone just because you're already doing so much on your phone.
Yeah. It's just that I'm not going to carry my calendar with me everywhere I go.
You could, but then you're going to be looked at as like, I don't even know.
That doesn't even bother me. At this point, I was actually talking to one of my buddies about this, yesterday, and shout out to my boy Cam. I go to the gym with him every now and then. We work together also. Shout out to him. I was talking to him the other day about, he cares a lot about what people think about him.
Cam.
Yeah.
Is your friend?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Cam. Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway.
The guy in your story and stuff. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And he was having an issue with that. And I'm like, hey, man, look. The opinions of those who are there for you and care about you and that are pouring into you in a positive way, that's the opinions you should care about. Everybody else who adds nothing positive to your life, hey, let them think what they think.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter how good you're doing. There's going to be people that hate on you. There's going to be people that don't want you to succeed. And there's going to be people that are just, will talk to you to your face one way.
Yeah.
But as soon as you're out of sight or they're out of your sight, they're going to say this and that. So that's always going to be there. So don't even worry about that.
I don't really like, I like social media just as a tool.
Yeah.
But there was one thing I put on my story, and it was very impactful. It was a guy riding a horse with this girl, right? And they were walking down a path. It was like a little timeline, a little time lapse. And they started off with holding the donkey or the horse with the leash. Oh. And then people were watching them. They were like, "Oh, that's animal abuse." why are they holding him by a leash?
Wow.
And then they're like, okay, all right, we're gonna take him off the leash. We're just gonna ride him.
Yeah. Oh.
So they get on top of him and they're like, oh my God, like why can't they just walk? And then they're like, okay, all right, here. He told his wife, you walk. And then I'll ride the horse. And then the next scene was the people saying, wow, what an asshole. Like, he's making his wife walk and he's riding the horse.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, crap. Okay, so he hopped off the horse and then put his wife on the horse. And now he's walking next to the horse. And then the guys in the next scene are like, oh, he's whipped. Look at him. Like, he's, kissing her feet. He's, she's riding the horse and he's having to walk.
You can't win.
Yeah, so then they just both, like, gave up. And they're like, F everybody. We're going to do what we want to do. And that, so like you said, whenever you just keep moving towards your on your path, there's always gonna be haters. There's always gonna be people that talk mess about you or even just judge you and think you're doing things wrong. But at the end of the day, it's what you want to do.
Absolutely, man. I agree with that, man. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude. It's life. That's the way it is.
You said you did some stupid things in the military.
Oh, man.
Is this something you can talk about on the camera?
Yeah, it's some stuff I can talk about. Okay, so this one thing I'll talk. So I was stationed in Clovis, New Mexico at Cannon Air Force Base.
Okay.
Special Operations Base.
New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico, yeah.
New Mexico, that's where they created the atomic bomb.
Oh, is that where that happened at?
It was a nuke. That's where they're creating the nuke.
I thought that was the Manhattan Project in New York, but
the Manhattan Project.
I thought.
No, they were in New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, testing. They had like a whole city they built just to work on the nuke.
Oh, yeah.
This was what was it? The Japan before they.
Oh yeah. Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Look, tell us about it.
Yeah.
You're in the military.
Yeah. So there are aliens.
Okay.
All right, let me go back to the New Mexico. So this is something stupid. So I used to work mid shift. That's in the military. That's like 11 p.m. to like 8 a.m. All right.
Yeah.
So the night shift, pretty much. And at the unit that I was working at, the work center that I was at, it was only me, my buddy, who were kind of like the workers, and then we had one guy, supervisor. It's just the three of us on the night shift. So it happened to be a Friday night one time, and myself and my boy Gomez. Shout out to Gomez, he's an airline pilot now. So So anyway, we were getting our work done pretty quick. You know, it was like 2 a.m. And we were like pretty much done. So I go to my boss. I'm like, hey, me and Gomez, we got done because we were working on this 105 mil gun system for C-130.
Okay.
We got done. I'm like, hey, we're all done. For our lunch break, there's this nightclub. Can we go to it?
Yeah.
And he was like, he looked like, what? How could you ask me that? Why would I allow that?
Yeah.
And then he was like, you know what? Since you have the balls to ask me that, yeah, y'all go ahead.
That's like that movie Ted. You seen that?
Ted?
When he was getting promoted.
Oh, with the bear.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
You haven't seen that scene? Whenever he was talking mess to his manager and he was like, you know what? I've never had somebody talk to me that way. You're promoted.
That's crazy. So we did. So we left. We took I think an hour and a half. We had a change of clothes and everything. So we went to this club real quick. It was jumping. It was pretty. It was women in there. It was a good time, So we look. Next thing you know, we look. Dang, we gotta get back to work. So went back to work. Our manager was there. We're like, hey, we're back. He was like, you guys went to the club? I'm like, yeah, we had a pretty good time. So we got back to work. And about 20 minutes later, he came back out there. He's like, you know what? I think we should call it a night. It's been you guys got a lot of stuff done. Let's get out of here. So we're like, all right, cool. So we leave. So I look at Gomez. I'm like, hey, you want to go back to that place? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So we go to his house first, pregame a little bit, drink a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah. And then we go back out to that place, continue drinking. At this time, I'm married. I got kids. And, my wife was expecting me to be home around 9 a.m.
How old are you at this point?
How old was I in 2011? Dang it, you put me on the spot. I don't want to do this math. 1988 when I was born to 2011. So how old would I be? You do the math.
You know what? I got a phone right here.
I'm 20.
Hey, we're 2023 right now. We got calculators on our phone.
Yeah, I don't know how old I am. I'm 20-something.
Okay, so.
What year? I was born in 1988.
So
this was 2011.
1988.
Do 2011 minus 1988.
Nah, I'm not going to say it.
What? How old was I? I'm 34 right now. What are you talking about?
Bro.
What are you talking about?
Look, calculator. Bro.
Do 2011 minus 1988. Yeah, that'll show you how old I was.
23.
23.
You had kids at 23?
Oh yeah, I had my first kid when I was 18 or 19.
Oh wow, man.
Yeah, I'm 34. I have I'll be 35 this year. I'll have a 16-year-old this year. But so anyway,
He's tall, dude.
he is. He's pretty tall. Both of my boys are tall. My kid who's gonna be 15 in November, he's taller than me.
Yeah.
And my other one, I think we're about the same height. My oldest kid, I think we're about the same height. But so we go back, we start drinking. Go back to his house, we keep on drinking. A couple females come over, we hanging out. Next thing you know, I fall asleep. Next thing you know, I'm getting like phone calls. I look at my watch, it's like 11 a.m. I'm like, oh my God, I got voicemails, phone, like a bunch of missed calls from my boss, my boss's boss, my wife, a bunch of missed calls. Man, it's crazy. Long story short, just to bring this to an end, I didn't get in any official trouble, which was good. But I did get into a lot. This was Easter weekend. My parents were in town.
Easter weekend.
Yeah.
Resurrection.
Yeah. Yeah, I resurrected real quick. I actually had fell asleep in my buddy's shower, fully dressed. We were drinking quite a bit. But yeah, that pretty much. I think my supervision was like, "Yo, you're in enough trouble with your wife. Just don't do that again." You know what I'm saying?
They understood.
So that was one of the dumbest things I've ever done. Had a great time, but yeah, that was pretty dumb.
Look, you say you in trouble with your wife. I don't know how much time we got. How much time we got? 3 minutes. Does happy wife equal happy life? Or no?
Yes.
What's the reason behind it? If you can explain it in 1 minute.
Man, I can't, but I'll try. So, because that's a big thing. Happy wife, happy life.
I recently learned that.
Yeah. Being a husband, it's challenging and it's rewarding at the same time. I think we should always go the extra mile. Not only husband, I think it should be reciprocated. Husband and wife, we should wake up and do what we can to, please our spouses or whatever the case may be. And as men, we kind of compartmentalize a bunch of different things in our lives. We got a relationship right here. We got the gym right here. We got our cars and stuff right here. We got our buddies right here. Women, all their stuff is mixed up together, So I think as long as we make the effort to care, learn about them, and just be considerate, like they shouldn't have to come to us about, hey, I like doing this. When are you going to plan this? If we take the initiative and say, hey, Saturday, make sure you're ready by 7. We're going to, boom, happy wife, happy life.
And that's experience, guys.
That's experience right there.
And was it 34 years old?
34 years old, was married for 16 years.
That's, 34 years old, walking this green earth.
Green, right? Pasteurized earth, yeah. Yep.
So, guys, we had a great conversation with Matt Henderson here. Most definitely, we'll be back on the podcast sometime for a part 2, maybe part 3, part 4. I don't know. This guy is at the gym all the time. He trains clients here. So if you're in the area and you want some training with Matt, you got to know him a little bit, and you like him, go ahead and book some sessions with him. Just go ahead and reach out to us, and we'll get you connected. I hope you guys learned something about in this podcast and from Matt. So I'm going to let Matt give his little ending here, and I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, hey, so like he said, hit me up if you're interested in some personal training. Go to the t-prep website, t-prep.com, sign up, or you can hit me up on Instagram, Extendo, EXTENDOTHE. Hit me up on there. We can get some conversations going.
Extendo clip. All right, man. Goodbye.